Well, following cracking up at the end of that part of chapter 21, we're back with a more serious read now, probably. Chapter 22, and they lived happily ever after. Think of two different books you have enjoyed, and the heroes are heroines of both. Now imagine those characters meeting and try to develop their different stories into one in which they fall in love and create a new story. Perhaps the above sounds fanciful, even impossible, but when we meet, fall in love and start a life with our partner, there are comparisons with the above scenario. The later in life we meet, the more diverse our individual stories are likely to be, and bringing continuity to the plot can prove challenging. Rewrites and plot revisions are made as we go along, and is it any wonder that our stories do not always make sense? So instead of being surprised when there are disagreements about a way forward, the true wonder of human relationships should be that there are so many happily ever afters. I exited from my daydreams with a start. Stephen and I were inexorably linked, and even before I turned my head to see my husband by the rocks, separated from me by walls and windows, but only a little below where I myself was sitting, I had felt the other man's presence. Stephen was walking and seemed lost in thought, and it struck me how daft I had been to believe that the past was only haunting me and that Stephen may not be going through the same thing. The rocks, grey, black and brown, made shiny by verdigris waters, little different to those which lapped against most of England's shoreline, were also bringing Stephen's memories ashore, particularly the months leading up to our immigration. Before leaving England, Stephen and I had spent some time living by the coast. For the majority of that period, we had lived with my side of the family, the East Wing, in Clacton-on-Sea. But the last week had been spent saying goodbyes to the West Wing, Stephen's side of the family, in the town where we now found ourselves at that moment. What Portugal had held for us two was vague, and how the distance between us and our families would affect those relationships was given only a passing thought, as excitement mixed with a fair amount of anxiety about the largely unknown country we were going to move to mounted. 4.5 years away from England presented a perspective which helped Stephen understand the extent to which he and I had merged our lives and how our family had changed as a result of this. The friendships, respect, and love that he felt for me had grown to encompass the family he had married into, and he saw how happy this made me. Stephen also understood that being open with his blood family had changed unexpectedly and unintentionally the dynamics and his place within that family group. Before the musician had met me, the man who was standing contemplating the murky waters of the Bristol Channel had always believed he was living the best life he could have wished for. Stephen had left home just as soon as he was able to. It was the feeling that he was different which had been the impetus he needed to start buying a flat with a friend, unaware that the bond which connected him to his parents and siblings would hold despite their differentness. It was ironic that when he fell in love, it was with someone that often had a different way of thinking to his own. And it was difficult to explain why he was less likely to ignore his husband's ideas than he was other people's.